Being the generous horror host that I am, I figured even if I was going on vacation, that I'd take the mind's eye along for the ride. If I'm taking up residence in the City of Angels, visiting many a haunt, what better ride-along than reviews of these events and establishments? Therefore, for Halloween 2021, your favorite film critic and mine, Incarnate, will play your tour guide in a new addition to the mind's eye I like to call Fatal Attractions. Our first stop on this journey down the river Styx is a banquet. Suitable for our appetizer, no? Don't be fooled, however. This 5-course meal in fear is nothing short of an assault on the senses. Side effects may include delusion. On a personal note, on my maiden voyage to the Golden State 4 years ago, the venue wouldn't partake in 2017's autumn festivities. Thus, not only was this my most highly anticipated attraction to finally see what all the fuss was about, but I was even more excited that it was the first of the hallowed grounds on my trip's itinerary. This, like many of the Halloween scenes in the Los Angeles area, were first discovered on the Travel Channel's America's Scariest Halloween Attractions. Without further ado, on with the show. Delusion is an annual event, appropriately described as interactive theater. Located in the Phillips Mansion, it is preserved as a historic house in Pomona, Los Angeles County. Instead of a separation between audience and actor, stage from seating area, this grand Ole Opry happens around you as you are guided about your surroundings. Just don't call it a haunted house. The residence is suitably dilapidated. The house sets the right tone with an old-fashioned charm, yet with the rundown aesthetic of a dingy attic. If you chip in on the VIP experience, may I recommend ordering a drink at the bar before you enjoy the company of Nicholas Lowell, the magician for your evening's amusement. It is a welcome sight to see the character actors take their roles very seriously. You know they're method acting when they're not bound to mask mandates. Good for them. Now all they have to worry about is a stock market crash and outbreaks of polio. Even the outside seating area is littered with antique patio furniture to fit the times. And when I say antique, I mean just that. When I picked up my chair to move it closer to the table, this metal bulldozer plow legitimately weighed 50 pounds. The Reaper's Rations is where you'll find your snacks, food, and beverage for Delusion. I went with the flatbread, called Delusion. Between courtyard ensembles, mood lighting, and creepy trees, besides the food truck, the only out-of-place stations was the porta potties.
And that's when the fun really began.
The Easter eggs strewn about Phillips Mansion are comparable to gaming mechanics of a survival horror title through use of journal entries. They come in the form of traveler's mementos, diary pages, and audio recordings played on a time schedule. If I can give a critique to Delusion's operators, if your room is accompanied with music and recordings begin playing from the typewriter or voices come from a doll, it would help the storytelling, not to mention create the intended creepy vibe, for the song to lower or just completely cut out while these inanimate objects come to life and provide trivia of the theme's backstory. Between the scattered journal pages and audio tracks, it's clear that attention to detail was factored into the setting. I mean, this isn't a Blumhouse script. Someone actually put effort into all this storytelling. So, it would be made easier for the audience to listen in and get sucked into the cryptic memories when the walls start talking. During my pre-show time, I tried to read as many of these pages as I could. The house seemed to be the beacon for wayward travelers and lost souls. It's interesting looking back on this year's event trailer and understanding the significance of the keepsakes adorned throughout the mansion. Normally, souvenirs are trinkets you take home from your voyages. These relics are not only holdovers collected from guests who've visited the home of the hostess, but these keepsakes have kept a piece of these travelers within them. The souvenirs aren't just keeping their memories alive, but keeping the dead amongst the living as well.
Being dead wasn't a problem, but being forgotten, now that's a bitch!
For you see, the house is not only a museum, but it's also a prison. The story of the tall lady was especially chilling.
Let's see how special you are.
Beautiful even in death. That waistline, yes.
Well, I believe I've whet our appetite enough. Don't make the mistake I did. If you're thinking the house that you check into is too small for a proper tour of the place, just keep in mind, fear runs deep. The story follows an attempt for the lady of the house to make right the wrongs of past mistakes, by making all new ones. It seems she's gathered one collector's item too many and intends to extend her hospitality and use her guests to atone for her sins. That's where dabbling in forces beyond your understanding lands you. The journey the hostess sets you on sees you traverse space and time. Space because of your crossover into the spirit world. Time because of the travel backwards to join the guests when they last paid a visit and paid with their lives. Have you ever had a recurring dream? One night's sleep picking up where the last left off? Ever had it curdle into a living nightmare? That is the journey you take and the pact you make with Delusion. Your guides will abandon you at the first sign of trouble and betray you to save their skin by serving up your hide. So remember to wear your skin tightly so you don't let in that cold chill down your spine. Remember though, the keepsakes work both ways. That which summons the lost souls can also snare them. If you think splitting up is a bad idea, your guide knows that too, and won't hesitate to separate you from the group if it means appeasing the restless spirits, so the greater whole can progress forward. The talismans, interestingly, always carry some weight to the characters, and serve the story so it's always intriguing watching how the plot plays out. You move about the house until that circulation is cut short by the cardiac-arresting grip of fear. The fates of the visitors in the house is imaginative, as it's clear that each room accounts for all manner of horror. Terror for any taste, it appears. The lighting in this play is used to superb effect, genuinely film quality, horror film quality to unsettle the senses. Strobing light, eerie light, dim lighting, lightning strikes. They've spared no expense. As previously mentioned, if your hostess goes out of her way for your sake, you should respond in kind and be good little guests with how you label her abode. Haunted houses establish a theme. Delusion tells a story. I like a good monster closet as much as the next, but Delusion is not that. The performers in this production are at the top of their game and earnestly throw themselves into their roles. Their presentation really sells the story, which, unconsciously, makes you buy into their blight. At one point, my group got so startled when we collectively panicked from one scare that when we did a 180 and attempted to bail, we were met by another surprise waiting just behind us. The people were so frenzied and the lighting and music worked up the crowd so much that the ensuing stampede behind me actually pushed me into boxes as I tried to regain my balance and my bearings, navigating my settings in such deliberately poor lighting. Delusion met my every expectation. It is moody and atmospheric. It is theatric and immersive. I'm happy that the stars aligned so that I could make it to LA this year and, despite the uncertain times we're living in, that the show must go on. This was the perfect way to kick off my vacation, not to mention October itself. I recommend plunking down an extra $30 for the Her Private Collection VIP package. You'll get an extended look at the Easter egg souvenirs of the mansion's past guests, another bar upstairs, and the trick up the sleeve of the evening's entertainer. You can even get a deeper look at the skeletons in the closet. Also, if you happen to venture the courtyard, order up some cold drink and flatbread, do venture into the cellar for your own amusement. I can assure you that the horror locked under the grounds of the house are anything but bargain basement. I've been your tour guide incarnate, reminding you, I ain't just a big deal, I'm the real deal.
Warn your friends.